What's up, Broncos fans? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. Today's show is all about quarterback trade targets Denver could go after. We're going to get ready for Week 15 by just talking about a little news and rumors. Well, mostly just rumors here because we've discussed the Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, even a little bit of Deshaun Watson trade rumors, and we'll get to that in the back half of the show. But I want to talk about a different name that came across my desk, Gardner Minshew. That's right, some Minshew mania maybe? Well, Gil Brandt from NFL.com included Denver as a team that could trade for Gardner Minshew. So a new name we've seen here as a potential trade target for the Broncos, which I absolutely believe the Broncos will be exploring plenty of trade options this offseason. Now here's the deal with Minshew. He is relatively cheap, which makes this a very somewhat enticing idea. Under contract with the Eagles through next season for less than $1 million. What you get out of Gardner Minshew versus what he's being paid is a very good deal. You don't have to love Gardner Minshew, but you got to like what he can offer you for less than $1 million. Now, I'm not saying I'm jumping in this boat of sign me up immediately, but I am jumping in the boat of let's at least discuss the idea. Speaking of this idea, though, should the Broncos trade for a quarterback? I think that's the first question we should ask. Whether they want to draft a quarterback, run it back with Teddy Bridgewater. I really don't see a way they go back to Drew Lock. But let me pose that question to you. Type your T for trades or P for passes down below. Getting back to Gardner Minshew, he had a phenomenal start a week ago for the Eagles, just dominating, coming off the bench for an injured Jalen Hurts, 81.5 completion percentage, threw for 2 TDs and didn't turn the ball over. Not a bad day for Gardner Minshew coming off the bench. Now, in his career, he's honestly been way better than I remembered him being. And it kind of does make you wonder, maybe the Jags just were the Jags that sort of ruined Gardner Minshew, right? 39 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Those are pretty good numbers, and you just don't remember those numbers being that way. I had to look it up and really take a double take because the deal with Minshew is he did not have a wonderful departure from Jacksonville to Philadelphia, but maybe the Broncos want to wait out and hold off for a year. If they can't get Rodgers or Wilson, hey, we'll run it with Minshew, kind of like what they did with Bridgewater. It's a little tough to wrap your mind around, but it does kind of get the the wheels turning on. Maybe you go that direction and kind of surprise everyone. I'm going to ask this question to you guys. Would you want Gardner Minshew? You kind of heard my spiel. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. I'll make this the pinned comment. So if a YouTube ad break hits you right now, scroll on down, reply to it, and then come back up when the ad break is over. For me, no, but I could be persuaded because let's say you don't land Wilson, you don't get Rodgers, and you don't like anyone in the draft, so now you're looking at it and going, we can't run it back with Bridgewater. As it stands right now, he just has not played to earn a second contract with Denver. You got to move on from Drew Lock, so for less than $1 million in one season, if you want a short-term rental, as far as those go, Gardner Minshew is a great option at that rate. So I would not be too opposed, but I definitely would not be jumping up and down of let's pursue Gardner Minshew. Let's get him at mile high as soon as possible. But if other stuff just doesn't go to plan and you're left with like plan D, yeah, I could make plan D or plan E Gardner Minshew. I could get behind that, but it wouldn't be a fun plan to get around. But speaking of quarterbacks, do you want a new quarterback? Because everyone in Denver, I think, is on the same page of so much talent on this roster, just got to get the right man under center to overachieve what this team is capable of. So subscribe if you do, because if the Broncos do make a trade, listen, we're going to have a video coming out ASAP Rocky. We're going to be hitting you guys up so that way you know everything there is to know about the latest Broncos trade rumors and quarterback extravaganza. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel today. We had some recent subscribers. I want to give them a shout out on the show. Jared Nixon, Mark Real, T Bonafide, Cooley, James Wilson. Appreciate you guys joining the channel. Subscribe so you can get on a show as well. We'll give shout outs all the time. So make sure you are subbed to the best place to find the latest Broncos news and rumors all year long. Other quarterback options. We'll dive into the Rodgers, the Wilson, and a little bit of the Deshaun Watson even at the back half of today's show. But before we get into that, we got some great stuff going on here at Chat Sports. But most importantly, we've got some awesome deals happening right now with our friends over at Fanatics. Listen, we've got a great deal going on with this pullover. It's only $40, and it's at chatsports.com/Broncos pullover. So make sure you check out that link down below. I'll have it in the comments and the description of this video as well. Trade targets, though. Rodgers, Wilson, those two have been the back and forth. Where do you stand on that guy? Which one do you want? And then there's Deshaun Watson, which personally I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. As long as his legal issues are still ongoing and he didn't show much interest in going to Denver, it just does not seem like it's going to happen. But we'll at least include him because unless you really are dying to get Watson on the team, here's your chance to at least cast your vote for that. So pick a quarterback for me. Type AR for Aaron Rodgers or RW for Russell Wilson or even a DW for Deshaun Watson. Let me know which one you want down below in the comments section. I think for me, it's clear. It's either Rodgers or Wilson. And you look at the numbers so far this year, and Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, okay? There's no doubt about it. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson, he's had some ups and downs. He missed some time with an injury. First time he missed a game in his career. And the Seahawks are just not clicking. They're not humming. It has not been a fun season in Seattle. And so maybe that's lowered the asking price for Russell Wilson. I really doubt it. If Seattle decides to move on from Wilson, it'll be a franchise-altering move. It'll be very questionable at best, I think. But if they want to do it, I won't stop them. I'm not going to try and drag them down. I'm all for getting Russell Wilson in a Broncos uniform. Career-wise, though, look at the two here, and they're having Hall of Fame caliber level careers. Rodgers, for sure, he's in. Wilson is on track to be in, no doubt about it. And so the only thing I wonder about their two careers and if one of them would be, ending up in Denver is the age factor, okay? You got a 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers versus a 33-year-old Russell Wilson. And for that reason, I lean Wilson because if you're going to make a big trade, you got to get someone that can give you a long time. Now, Tom Brady, Father Time, I don't know if that's someone you want to try and model after, meaning like, hey, if Tom Brady's playing and he's almost 45, we can get 7 more years out of Rodgers. Yeah, I wouldn't bank on that, okay? Brady's pretty rare in that aspect. At least with Wilson, you know this. He loves football because even when he's hurt, he's practicing talking in the huddle to ghosts, and he keeps himself in excellent shape. First time missing a game in his entire career this season. He's 33. I think you get 9 years out of him for sure. Rodgers, I have a little more questions about. So if you're going to put all your eggs in the basket, right, and send a ton of picks and even some players over, you better get a handful of years out of him, not 2 to 3 years. Before we wrap up today's show, it's almost Sunday. So who do you got this one? Broncos, Bengals. Predict the score for me down below. To me, this is a playoff game. You'll have tiebreaker implications afterwards, and an 8-6 team and a 7-7 team going into Week 16. It's hard to get in the playoffs when you are 500, and there's only 3 games left in the year. So predict the score for me down below. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I'm always talking about the Broncos right there at my Twitter handle, @MatthewPeterson. So shoot me a follow, even DM me saying, hey, I checked out your video, and I'll give you a shout-out on the next Broncos Breakdown. Until next time, we'll see you later, Denver.